I mildly enjoyed RWBY Volume 6, Episode 1. I'm trying my hardest to be positive here, folks. I really am. So let's just talk about the things I liked, okay? So some of the lines were decent and made me chuckle. There were some moments of humor I didn't mind. The animation looked really good, and it was pretty smooth. I have nothing wrong with the actual animation itself, not counting consistency and stuff, and some of the expressions. I do have problems with animation, but overall, it was pretty good. And I loved that they didn't use matte paintings yet. They didn't need to just give us a still image and be like, boom, happy birthday. And also, they remembered the Grimm exist. And, to be blunt, the Manticores are fucking spectacular. They're easily one of my favorite looking Grimm. I love Manticores. I love mythological things. I would love more mythology-based Grimm. Like, the Nakavli was... it looked really stupid, so I can't say I like that. But the dragon and the Phaelong were cool. Unfortunately, that's all I have good to say. Yeah. So if you don't want rage, probably best you get off the video now. So where do we start? Well, how about the characters? Weiss mentions nobody appreciating the effort she went to escape, but ignoring the fact that all we saw was her locking a door and getting on an airship, she doesn't seem to appreciate the effort either, because she gets over it almost instantly. The fuck, man? Similarly, Yang does something dumb in the same scene. She acts like RWBY, as in she goes from the old Yang, who was an enjoyably comedic character who was actually very relaxed, but still was able to take things seriously, to just a childish goofball. Even though she went through all this shit that any real human would be affected by, Yang is less sensitive to these things than Sookie Stackhouse from True Blood, because she doesn't give a fucking shit about what she went through. Oh, and she's also still completely over Blake. I thought that affected you, Yang. I thought that really hurt you to a level that a single conversation wouldn't immediately remedy like a fucking magic spell. Apparently, she wasn't really hurt by it. She just wanted to get RWBY the fuck out of her room because RWBY hadn't showered for days on end. Oh, actually, that's completely reasonable. Oh god, do I even need to talk about Blake? Well, she bored me. That's about it. I mean, they'd have to actively try to make Blake a worse character at this point. So she really didn't do anything that stood out to me. But I was definitely annoyed by some things in a conversation with Elia. Okay, so in what way did saving Haven have an impact on how the Faunus are seen? So you mean to tell me that the Faunus stopping a White Fang terrorist attack, but then letting humans deal with the real heavy hitters and also stop the place from being destroyed by Cinder, and also the humans stopping the Faunus headmaster that betrayed the kingdom, helped the Faunus image? It literally proved that the world can't trust the Faunus with power. Adam was given power amongst the White Fang, and he attempted a terrorist attack. Lionheart was given political power and dominion over all the Huntsmen in Mistral, and he allowed a terrorist attack, betrayed the kingdom, and caused potentially hundreds of Huntsmen to die. The only way this makes Faunus look good is if you blatantly lie to the media about what happened and make Lionheart look like someone who did nothing wrong. And in that case, yeah, you're helping the image of the Faunus, but you're also a fucking liar, like a politician. And we all know how respected politicians are amongst the general populace now, don't we? Oh, so Gira starting the new movement gives you hope, Elia? Are we going to ignore the last movement he started was known as, let me check here. The White Fang? Are we just going to ignore that his pacifistic approach where he refuses to fight or even do anything like condemn a criminal unless they actively threaten his family led to a terrorist attack and multiple homicides? This guy literally refuses to fight anybody unless his family is in danger. What a selfish asshole. Oh, and how convenient they already saw Blake off. We didn't have time to have Gira and Carly say goodbye. You know, that could have been a heartwarming scene. Blake saying goodbye to her parents. No. We had to waste money making a Neptune model instead of hiring new scriptwriters. Oh, yeah. Neptune's here. And while I can't say I'm especially angry about that, I can say I don't give a shit. Of course, she doesn't want to see Weiss because... You know what? I'm actually not too sad about that. How? How does that sound sad? What about that was sad? He pulled a Ren and just told everyone, hey, Blake developed, guys, don't ask questions, she just did. Yeah, I mean, from a writing and meta standpoint, that's pretty sad, but from yours? I don't... oh, and RWBY. Fucking RWBY. She solves everything with her annoying high-pitched death screeches. Somehow she makes Weiss forget about the effort she went through and magically convinces Dudley to do what they want. I mean, really? She's a 16-year-old girl, man. Are you that desperate for some female attention? Jesus Christ. You know what? Let's talk about Dee and Dudley. Dee and Dudley were the things I liked the most in this episode. They were selfish assholes who took advantage of the passengers, but they still had their safety in mind. I found that to be something that could be built upon to make interesting characters. They were also trained huntsman graduates, so they likely could have been quite powerful and valuable assets to show us not only some more huntsman skill, because let's be honest, Crow and Oobleck had some fucking awesome moments, and also Glinda too, but also to diversify the same fighting styles we've been seeing for 5 fucking years. I mean, RWBY has lost the dynamic energy and smoothness after Volume 2, for obvious reason, and didn't really get it back, except in some moments. This isn't Dragon Ball, where the basic fighting might be the same every time, but there's always something awesome like a spirit sword or a time stop in every fight to make them different. RWBY fights nowadays are just the same thing over and over again, and this fight exemplifies that, but more on that later. Dee and Dudley could have been really, really cool and interesting in their own right. Instead, they're portrayed as fucking idiots with no idea what they're doing and are incapable of fighting Grimm. Seriously? These Grimm that first years can cleave through as if they were fucking butter are giving graduated huntsmen problems? I know being graduated doesn't automatically make them better, but could you imagine if in My Hero Academia, Uraraka beat the shit out of All For One while All Might lay laying in a crater? What the fuck did I... How stupid would that be, huh? Okay, this is admittedly not as stupid as that, but it's still pretty stupid. I mean, yeah, the weapons are just lightning club and rifle, cool, but that could have been awesome in its own right. I feel like mentioning Kung Fu Panda 2 here, where at the very end they have 2 Kung Fu masters show up with their own unique fighting styles and skills alongside the wise old master, and the group of main characters for a climactic battle against mooks. Ignoring the obvious advantage that film has in budget, from a writing standpoint, not only does that give us an awesome moment to cheer about, it also diversified the fighting style we've seen up to this point. Not that this film exactly had lacking fighting styles, in fact there was a lot of unique set pieces and stuff in that scene, but that film's low-key one of the best animated movies ever made, so it's not really a fair comparison. Still, why are they so useless? And not to mention, Dudley was in the right this episode. The turrets were taking out a lot more Grimm a lot quicker than the heroes were. And not once did the passengers look in danger. The Grimm never once attacked the train's passengers or even attempted to. What is this, Volume 3? You're gonna start telling us the train's been heavily damaged without showing it too? Well, no, they actually do show the train taking heavy damage, so... Alright, fair enough. Anyway, when they do turn the turrets off, there are like 7 Grimm or so. Those turrets would have been fucking useful, you know. What was the problem with them? Even if it somehow was a bad idea, that does not give Crow the right to physically assault someone who just had their elbow crash into a mountainside while hanging off of a speeding train. A guy who legally has authority over him. What, is Crow an asshole now? Oh, well, actually, given the fact that Crow doesn't seem to care that Dee might be dead, probably. I mean, Dudley here could be worried sick about his buddy who got dragged off the train, so you're also assaulting someone who might be scared, worried, or angry, or all of the above. What even is the concern, though? I mean, these Grimm might be able to fight off graduates, but a 14-year-old boy with a weak body can fucking fend one off with barely any training and... Wait a minute. So this guy is capable of injuring Hazel, who was barely faced by Crow, who equaled Tyrion, who could effortlessly overpower Nora, who was powered by lightning. What the fuck is going on here? This thing should be nothing if Oscar's capable of that. Why is he having trouble hurting it? God, the power scaling in this series makes no goddamn sense. This is like Ultra Instinct Roshi levels of retarded. This isn't even going into the little issues, like the animation errors or the shitty delivery from Adam and Oscar's voice actors. Oh yeah, there's an Adam scene. I forgot about it. Of course, Oscar did manage to piss me off with the line he gives here when he's like, "Oh, well, I'm glad they're not trying to save the world." When I mean, they're huntsmen. They should be helping. I mean, you're putting a lot of pressure on a bunch of kids who aren't even legal. It's not like some magical girl or mecha show where there's something special about them, like they're the wielders of kaleidostic type mystic codes or they're new types. Only RWBY has anything special about her. Ran of all people did the first useful thing in his life here, and he needed John as a crush to pull it off. And it was to save people from 7 Grimm? It feels like this was just done to arbitrarily get these characters away from these guys. Because, you know, we've had so many interactions between Team RWBY and Team Gianna, but oh wait, no, we have not. I don't think any of these characters have had a single conversation with any of these people. I don't even think RWBY has had conversations with all these people. And she walked with them for half a year. It shouldn't even have mattered because the artifact draws in Grimm something that... Whoa. Okay, what? These artifacts, right? They attract Grimm? Why did you put them directly under a school, you fucking loony? Why didn't you mention this earlier? We can't just lampshade that he didn't and literally tell the viewers it's not important. It's fucking important. I don't give a fuck if you're just gonna say it's a cartoon. If you're trying to take it seriously, you need to take it seriously so that we can take it seriously. Taking it serious... Okay, this got off track. What? Why do you guys even trust him? He keeps so many secrets that could cost you your fucking life. Hell, he didn't even tell Crow. He didn't even tell Oscar. And if he told either of them, then they're assholes. He's an asshole. And why are the Grimm attracted to the relics? I thought they were attracted to negativity and shit. What, did the god of dark and evilness just decide one day to go back and tweak the Grimm to go after these after they made man? Why? I guess whoever wrote this is the same guy who once said faunus are older than humans. Oh, and the choreography was rubbish. There's no energy in this fight. It is so boring. I mean, I'm probably the wrong person to say that, given I was geeking out about how fucking awesome Manacle Grimm are, but the fight was just another average RWBY affair where the characters flip around and swing their weapons like barbarians cleaving through things. Man, I miss Garo, where each horror was a unique entity with either emotional meaning to the fights or real proper danger, like the Chimera horror, or the blacksmith Herman befriended. Meanwhile, here in RWBY, it's the same shit over and over with no emotional investment because you know they're not going to kill anybody without making it blatantly obvious they are. God, I mean, these are the same writers that make everyone around RWBY and the gang seem like assholes and morons just to make them look better. God damn it. You know, in hindsight, this episode fucking sucks, but when I try my hardest to be positive, there are some things that make me consider calling it okay. Although people are likely going to talk about that because most people go saw it in a theater. And in a theater, there's a bit more context and atmosphere because you're in a theater. And it makes it feel like it's more epic than it really is. This was just bad. Poor show, Rooster Teeth. I'm not ready to say this was Volume 5 levels of bad. Because, I mean, it's just not. There were actual positives here. Unlike Volume 5. So, I guess... at the best, I can call this passable. At the worst,